This is a mini lesson analysis on Marth versus Sheik. I love that at least you didn't get hit for free for this bear. That I'm really happy to see. The next step back though, the next step is like obviously not over respecting because I think you could have at least done like I think instead of doing a waveland back, what you could do instead of doing a dash forward here is that you could immediately drop through platform and then wave dash down tilt or like short hop back fair or F tilt to at least like, you know, tax them a little for doing something like this while you lose absolutely nothing doing a down tilt, right? Or just taxing whatever options. Like I think you could have set it yourself up better for this kind of position, but like it's way better than not just getting hit for free. So I think this down tilt ish is like fine, although you could have definitely done that a lot sooner. And I would rather see you do an immediate nair rather than a second down tilt because a lot of Sheiks are trying to CC nowadays, so or like dash back rather than a second down tilt. I also think with this fair, it was kind of lucky in my opinion that it hit. But also, if you're gonna go for this fair, thinking that it would hit, I would rather see that you try to go for a follow up. Like, I don't think you should be going for this fair because it's so common for Sheiks to either whiff punish or CC grab it. I would rather see you do a waveland back as a mix up. But if you think it's gonna hit, then for whatever reason, I would love to see you do like a fair up tilt immediately. And yeah, I just think you're kind of going for a lot of risky plays. And that's obviously very scary against Sheik. And if you pivot grab this, I think it was probably a missed input, but a pivot grab would have definitely gone a long way. Definitely throwing away your advantage there. I do not recommend that you gamble like that against Sheik of all characters. Oh, definitely need to be spaced better. And you can't ever confirm, by the way, Sheik's spot dodge because it's so fast, and especially not with forward smash, which is, the hard part about, maintaining advantage against Sheik is that you get a lot less confirmations. And like you do need to make a soft read to like either forward smash preempt a little bit preemptively, or you space a fair, or you dash dance. Either is all valid, but like you cannot just like confirm off a spot dodge, unfortunately. And instead, like you do need to exert like pressure more, like short hopping close to them, fair, late fair rather than this rising fair, because this rising fair is more of a read and it's therefore more of a gamble. And I think the more gambles you take against Sheik of all characters, the more likely you're probably gonna fail because when you don't have high reliable moves against Sheik, you just lose out on risk. Like if you go off just on risk reward against Sheik, you typically just lose. Because Sheik just has better risk reward against Marth. And what Marth has, though, is better reliability. And sometimes you build up better reliability through pressure plays, especially like, sometimes you gotta do empty movements against him. You needed short hop a little bit closer against him. So then, it gives you data on whether or not you need to play more offensive or defensive. And I think you're kind of just going for a little bit too much aggression check. Like that run up nair, that's like, it's a gamble at the end of the day. And it's frankly not even that good of a gamble. Like it's good. It's also like can also get you completely nothing sometimes. And they're like that's like a big reason why Sheik's spot dodge is so strong as Marth is because he can't just like confirm off of that. And you need to instead set up reliable positions through pressure, through picking an option that's like not likely to get you reversal. Also you should have dared there rather than that fair. So some nuance here needs to be explained. This short hop back, amazing, right? I love that. Now it's the time to do like, oh, okay, alarm bells shot like are saying that like I need to like do a falling fair right now. as you like. I think it needed to be alarmed. It needed to be alarmed right now, like, because like, you know, reaction points doesn't have to be just yourself. A lot of times it's also just as valuable, if not more valuable, to react to what your opponent is doing. So like typically I say that, you know, you should react at the end of your short hop, but this is an exception because your opponent just went all in with a move and you are going to avoid it. And now it's like, oh, now like the alarm bells need to be sounding off that like I need a fair right now. And 15 frames later, surely you would hit them. You know, fair is frame 4. But because you reacted a bit too late, that is because probably because you were looking at yourself rather than your opponent, that resulted to you getting punished. So like it's very important to also react to your opponent, and that's also kind of a big reason why you've been like losing against spot dodge, is because you can't react to spot dodge a lot of the times, because spot dodge is a little bit too fast for cooldown, and you need to react a bit earlier, which means that you need to make a read. But you know, when making reads against Sheik, you gotta pick your battles with weighted RPS here. It's like, you know, instead of going for a run-up grab against Sheik, I would rather space a fair if I were to make a read, and then like see how the Sheik reacts to that, you know, spacing a fair. Like, are they gonna try to contest my short hop, or are they gonna play even more defensive off of that? And you know, and if Sheik wants to deal with me like short hopping closer against them, like that gives me a lot. Like short hopping closer to them exerts pressure and gives me more reliability long term, even if I will get owned for it sometimes. So, you know, a lot of how you react this matchup is definitely dependent on how the Sheik player reacts to things too. Like I'm looking at the Sheik player a lot is what I'm trying to say. Definitely also like is the matchup where you cannot rely on just gambles, because you on average will not win those, and you instead need to play very reliable positions. And you know, I could see you playing reliable positions, by the way. It's like stuff like this I think are very good plays, but like I think you're just slightly off on like one, certain threat ranges, and two, like looking at the player, like looking at where they will be at. So yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to, you know, the dodge of looking at the screen, but in this case, like you want to look more at your opponent a lot of the times. Like, of course, this is universal, but I just think that it really sticks out against Sheik in particular. And like, you know, you're trying to react here, thinking that this rising fair is guaranteed, but Sheik's fair is too low lag, right? And if it's too low lag and you're trying to react around like this part, then that means you're taking a gamble, because more than one outcome can occur. Like this rising fair either works or it doesn't work. And I'd rather play outcomes. Like, you know, I'd rather space a late fair instead. Like, okay, there's two ways that I could play this. Like the most reliable thing you could do is play around dash attack, first of all. And then if I see that they're not the type to just spam dash attack, then I'm more inclined to space a fair and then see if they are emboldened to then do a dash attack or they play more defensive. Like those are the kind of reliable plays that I would go for more, because yeah, it could not work, but I think the kind of plays I'm going for is not hard for Sheik to punish. It's like very not straightforward for Sheik to punish, or like they need to take a big risk to punish what I'm doing. Like, you know, for example, if I'm going to do like a short hop close to them, well, they need to call me out with like an F tilt or like a boost grab, right? Rather than like, if I'm doing a rising fair and they just block it with shield, that's not hard for the Sheik to punish at all. So that's what I mean in terms of like taking more reliable punishes and moves against Sheik is necessary. Because the more straightforward you make things for Sheik to win positions against you, the more the risk reward is just going to be so straightforward for them, right? Like you give them the easiest hits in the world, and they also have like a very easy punish game on you. So I'd rather play the kind of positions where I have to make them work for the hit at the end of the day. And these kind of gambles is like not really making them work really hard. And even if the gambles work, by the way, because in this case it somehow worked, they're not even really strong gambles, right? Like, because Marth's like risk reward against Sheik just sucks, you know? Like you took a gamble on shield grabbing here, and it's like, well, what are you gonna get even if you hit them? So like you need to really rely on making the Sheik work really hard for the hit. Like it's why you see why like when you see Zane plays against Jmook, it's not that like Zane gets like explosive hits against Jmook. He's just winning like positions a lot. And when he's not doing well against Jmook is like when they win like equal neutral and like Jmook just out punishes, you know? Okay, that was good. You were playing a very dangerous position there, but it somehow worked out. So yeah, I do think you should try to avoid doing this way dash back down tilt, if you can. Like sometimes you kind of need to do it when they're really close to you, but it gives up flexibility because like if you were to way dash back normally, you see that they whip this F tilt. I was like, oh, easy punish on reaction. But because you preemptively committed to this, that gave up punishing this F tilt. So you really want to avoid doing preemptive defense like that. And if you're gonna do it, the preemptive defense, you use Nair. Nair is like by far your best preemptive defense. Doing something like a retreating rising fair or retreating back down tilt is not as good. Up tilt, oh come on. You know, when you see six Sheik like hang up there, like they usually like the default doing this, and up tilt is just like a free tax, you know? Ah, you see how like playing ugly gambles like that, it's just gonna go to Sheik's favor in the long term. So, you know, really don't gamble in this matchup. Like, not saying that you shouldn't ever gamble, because obviously once you build up enough data, like some gambles are more reliable. And certainly I do think you could call out some of their spot dodges, but what you really want to go for are long-term reliable plays through making Sheik work hard for her hit. It's not like your reliable plays will be impervious per se, but you know, making Sheik commit with like dash attack boost grab, as well as, you know, in tighter frame tight situation, like, and if you want to exert pressure, show hopping, spacing a fair at her shield or F tilt range is exerting a lot of pressure against her and will beat a lot of her options, albeit maybe not always at like the best reward. That's generally the most while, like, you know, when you do that, you are taking a risk shore hopping close to her. So then, you know, that's why you check with like playing around boost grab dash attack range first, and then see how they react like throughout the course of the games, how they react to you shore hopping closer to them. That's like the vision behind playing higher reliable positions against Sheik, rather than like, you know, playing 50-50s, certain nuances of how you react to. You know, obviously those things can be worked with as well. Those are things that you need to work on, but the big picture I have for reliability is like how you win against Sheik.